In the 5th century BC, the Persian Achaemenid Empire, established under Cyrus the Great, was rapidly expanding its territories, stretching from northern India to southeast Europe. The empire had a diverse army, incorporating the populations of conquered lands into their administration. Among the subjects of the Persian Empire were wealthy Ionian Greek colonists living in western Anatolia. However, some Ionians were discontented with heavy taxes and trade restrictions imposed by the Persians. This dissatisfaction led to a widespread Ionian revolt in 499 BC, with the Ionians seeking help from Greek city-states. While most Greek city-states, including Sparta, refused to assist the Ionians, Athens sent a fleet to support the rebels. The Greeks managed to capture the city of Sardis, Persia's main stronghold in western Anatolia. However, due to internal strife and the defection of several factions, the Greek fleet suffered a defeat in the Battle of Lade in 494 BC. Following their victory, the Persians, led by King Darius, sought to punish those who aided the rebels. One of the Athenian politicians involved in the revolt, Miltiades, became a target of Persian vengeance. In 492 BC, Darius assembled a large fleet to invade Greece, but a storm destroyed the initial fleet, causing a delay in their plans. Finally, in 490 BC, an enormous Persian fleet, consisting of 600 ships carrying around 25,000 soldiers, set out to invade the Greek mainland. The fleet, including some pro-Persian Greeks, landed around Eretria and swiftly destroyed the city before sailing to Marathon. Prior to the invasion, heralds had informed the Greek city-states of the impending attack and demanded their surrender. Athens sent requests for aid, including to Sparta, but faced challenges due to political infighting and pro-Persian factions within the Greek city-states. Despite limited support, a small army was assembled, with Athens receiving unexpected assistance from the minor city-state of Plataea. Miltiades, a sworn enemy of Persia, took command of the Greek army. Thus, the stage was set for the Battle of Marathon, with a small Greek army facing a numerically superior Persian force, representing the largest empire known at that time. The Persians had hoped to lure the Greeks into open battle by devastating Eretria, or bypassing the Greek army altogether and directly sailing to Athens. The Greek forces, led by around 10,000 Athenians and 1,000 Plataeans under the command of Callimachus and Miltiades, primarily consisted of hoplites, heavily armed spearmen known for their prowess in close-quarters combat, who fought in tight formations typically comprising 8 ranks. In contrast, the Persians fielded approximately 25,000 soldiers, including archers, and 1,000 cavalry under the command of Datis. They landed near the Greek camp on the shores, close to the sea, guided by a Greek defector named Hippias, who suggested the site was ideal for deploying their superior cavalry. The Persians swiftly established their camp, while scouts alerted them to the advancing Athenian army, prompting immediate preparations for battle. The Athenians had indeed marched in close proximity to the Persian landing ground, deploying their army on the high ground facing east, effectively blocking the Persians from advancing further. The hoplites formed a long line that stretched almost a mile, with 8 men deep, positioned on elevated terrain overlooking the beach. Their formation had a thin center line, or mentee, flanked by stronger units on the sides. The Persians, enjoying numerical superiority and boasting a diverse army comprising infantry, javelin throwers, archers, and cavalry, mirrored the Greeks' lengthy deployment along the shore. This led to a stalemate that persisted for several days, with some accounts suggesting a 2-mile gap separating both sides. The Greeks were hesitant to abandon their advantageous position, while the Persians were unwilling to risk a frontal assault against the Greeks. During this stalemate, a portion of the Persian army embarked on a journey toward Athens, leaving them with approximately 15,000 soldiers. On the 9th day, a messenger arrived at the Greek camp with news of the fall of Eretria, indicating that the Persians had freed up a significant force. The Athenian generals held differing opinions, with some cautioning against engaging the enemy due to their numerical disadvantage. However, Miltiades, through persuasion and his influential leadership, convinced the majority to plan an attack. On the morning of September 12th, Miltiades decided to launch the assault. The timing was opportune, as the Persian cavalry was situated over a mile to the north. The Greek hoplites charged toward the mixed Persian army, consisting mainly of infantry, javelin throwers, and archers in the center. The Persians, observing the Athenians' seemingly audacious charge without cavalry or archer support, assumed they were gripped by self-destructive madness, given their smaller numbers. Accounts differ on the initial clash between the two sides. The Greek hoplites either swiftly reached the Persian line, making contact near the end, or encountered difficulties, causing their advance to stagnate. As Persian spears and arrows tore into the Greek ranks, the Persian infantry realized their enemy was vulnerable. Seizing the moment, they launched a vigorous counterattack, engaging the vanguard of the hoplites in fierce combat. Meanwhile, both flanks of the Greek army, tightly formed in a phalanx formation, charged against the Persian light infantry. The Persians proved no match for the heavily armed Athenian infantry. In the center, the Greek infantry initially appeared to falter and retreat, resulting in brief skirmishes on the flanks. However, the hoplites regained their footing and gained the upper hand, pushing the Persian flanks back toward the shore. Rather than pursue the retreating Persians, who were suffering casualties as more of their infantry units were routed, the victorious Greek hoplites turned inward, targeting the exposed Persian center. The Persian army found itself nearly encircled, prompting a desperate struggle to prevent complete envelopment. As the hoplites closed in on the light Persian troops, the Persians fought not for conquest, but for survival. First, the Persian rear guard, and eventually the remaining army, fled toward their ships. Captains hastily set sail, some with barely filled vessels. The hoplites pursued energetically, engaging in fierce fighting on the beaches as they sought to prevent the Persians from escaping. The Athenians emerged triumphant, pursuing and cutting down the fleeing Persians until they reached the sea. The Greeks set fire to some Persian ships and seized others. Greek sources recount a significant Persian death toll, with at least 6,400 soldiers perishing, compared to fewer than 200 Greek casualties. The Battle of Marathon became an extraordinary victory for the Greeks, demonstrating their valor, strategic insight, and the effectiveness of the hoplite phalanx formation against diverse enemy forces. In the immediate aftermath of the Battle of Marathon, the Persian fleet set sail around Cape Sunion with the intention of attacking Athens directly. The Athenians, realizing that their city was still under threat, quickly marched back to Athens. 2 tribes from the Athenian line stayed behind to guard the battlefield under the command of Aristides. However, the Athenians arrived in time to prevent the Persians from securing a landing, forcing them to turn back and return to Asia. There were rumors that the Persians' maneuver had been planned in conjunction with the Alcmaeonids, an Athenian aristocratic family, but the truth of this remains uncertain. The following day, the Spartan army arrived at Marathon and toured the battlefield. They agreed that the Athenians had achieved a great victory. The fallen Athenian and Plataean soldiers were buried on the battlefield in 2 tumuli, with an epigram composed by Simonides inscribed on the tomb of the Athenians, praising their role in defeating the Medes. After the battle, Darius, the Persian emperor, began raising a new army to subjugate Greece completely. However, a revolt in Egypt delayed any further Persian expedition. Darius died while preparing to march on Egypt, and his son Xerxes I ascended to the Persian throne. Xerxes crushed the Egyptian revolt and resumed preparations for the invasion of Greece. But that is a story for another time.
On this channel, we are putting together narrative historical cinematic battles. Make sure to subscribe and thank you for watching. See you on the next one.